The gleaming chandelier caught the afternoon sunlight, scattering diamonds of light across marble floors that stretched into infinity. Nathan Webb stood in the foyer, his worn work boots a stark contrast to the opulence surrounding him. The real estate agent, Vivian Price, glanced at his faded jeans and simple button-up shirt, her perfectly sculpted eyebrow arching in silent judgment. "As I mentioned on the phone, Mr. Webb, this property is priced at $8 million, she said, her voice dripping with condescension. Perhaps I could show you something more suitable for your situation?" Nathan's hand tightened around the small photo in his pocket, his daughter Emily smiling from a hospital bed, her once vibrant eyes dimmed by months of treatment. He looked directly into Vivian's eyes and said the words that would change everything, "I'll buy it. Cash. Today." If you're enjoying this story of appearances versus reality and the lengths a father will go for his child, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more incredible true stories that will warm your heart and challenge your assumptions about the people we meet every day. Nathan Webb hadn't always been wealthy. 5 years earlier, he was just another struggling single father, working 2 jobs to keep a roof over their heads after his wife's death. Emily was his world, his reason for waking up each morning, for pushing through exhaustion night after night. When she was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer at 9 years old, Nathan felt his carefully constructed world crumbling. "Daddy, I'm scared," Emily had whispered that first night in the hospital, her small hand clutching his. "I know, Emmy Bear," he'd replied, forcing steadiness into his voice. "But do you remember what we always say?" She'd nodded weakly. "Webbs don't quit." That night, while Emily slept, Nathan pulled out his laptop. He'd been developing a revolutionary filtration system in his garage for years, a passion project born from his engineering background. With his daughter's life hanging in the balance, he worked with renewed purpose. 3 months later, he sold the patent to a major corporation for a sum that still didn't feel real to him. The money solved one problem but created another. Emily needed clean air, a place away from city pollution where she could recover after her treatments. Every property Nathan visited was wrong in some way, until he saw the listing for Oak Ridge Estate. The sprawling property sat on 20 acres of woodland, with pristine air quality and complete privacy. It was perfect. It was also $8 million. Vivian Price had been skeptical from the moment Nathan called. His area code was from the working-class side of town, his manner direct and unpretentious. When he arrived for the viewing in his modest Toyota pickup rather than the luxury vehicle she expected, her skepticism hardened into dismissal. "I understand you're eager, Mr. Webb," she said after his declaration, her smile not reaching her eyes. "But perhaps we should discuss financing options first." Nathan reached into his worn leather messenger bag and pulled out a bank statement, sliding it across the marble countertop toward her. "That won't be necessary." Vivian's eyes widened as she scanned the document, her demeanor transforming instantly. "Mr. Webb, I had no idea." "No, you didn't," he cut in quietly. "You saw my clothes and made assumptions. But here's what you didn't see, my daughter needs this place. The air here could help her recover from treatments that are so brutal they make her wish she could just give up. So I won't be giving you my business card or telling you what I do. I'll just be taking those papers to sign, please." The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. Nathan transformed the mansion's east wing into a recovery haven for Emily, with medical equipment disguised within beautiful furnishings. He hired a live-in nurse who specialized in pediatric oncology but who also loved baking cookies and telling stories. When Emily arrived, still weak from her latest treatment, her eyes widened at the sight of her new home. "Is this all ours, Daddy?" she whispered. "All ours, Emmy Bear," he replied, carrying her through the doorway. "And you know what else? There's a stable out back. When you're stronger, we can get you that horse you've always wanted." For the first time in months, Emily smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. What Nathan hadn't planned for was the loneliness. Despite the staff he'd hired, despite Emily's improving health, the enormous house echoed with emptiness. He missed the cramped apartment where they'd cuddled on the sofa watching movies, where Emily's laughter had bounced off close walls and returned to him magnified. 6 months after moving in, Emily's doctor delivered the news they'd been praying for: her cancer was in remission. That night, as they sat on the terrace watching stars appear over their private forest, Emily asked the question Nathan hadn't been expecting. "Daddy, are you happy here?" Nathan considered lying, then remembered his promise to always be honest with her. "I'm happy you're getting better. That's what matters." Emily shook her head, suddenly seeming older than her 10 years. "But this isn't really us, is it? It's so big and empty." The truth of her words struck him. He'd bought the mansion because it offered everything Emily needed medically, but in doing so, he'd created a beautiful cage. They were rattling around in a space designed for grand parties and large families, not a father and daughter who just needed each other. The solution came unexpectedly. While reviewing Emily's latest test results, her oncologist, Dr. Martinez, mentioned the growing need for recovery spaces for families going through cancer treatment. Most families can't afford extended hospital stays or specialty care facilities, she explained. They end up cramming medical equipment into tiny apartments, converting living rooms into sick rooms. Nathan looked around the enormous house, with its countless unused bedrooms and spacious grounds. What if they didn't have to? Within months, Nathan had established the Emily Webb Foundation. He renovated the mansion's west wing into private suites for families whose children were battling cancer. The families could stay for free while their children recovered from treatments, enjoying the clean air, professional care, and peaceful surroundings that had helped Emily heal. The day the first family arrived, a mother with twin boys, both fighting leukemia, Emily stood beside her father at the door, a welcome basket in her arms. "Hi," she said to the twins, who stared wide-eyed at the mansion. "I know it looks scary big, but I promise it's actually really cool. Want me to show you the game room?" As the children ran ahead, the boy's mother turned to Nathan with tears in her eyes. "I can't believe this is happening. When the hospital said we'd been accepted to stay here, I thought there had to be a catch." Nathan smiled, watching Emily lead her new friends down the hallway. "No catch. Just paying it forward." 3 years later, the mansion that had once felt so empty bustled with life. Dozens of families had come through its doors, finding not just medical support but a community of people who understood their journey. Emily, now 13 and still in remission, had become the unofficial welcoming committee, showing new families around and assuring frightened children that they weren't alone. Nathan still lived simply, despite his wealth. He wore the same style of comfortable clothes that had once caused Vivian Price to dismiss him. He drove the same pickup truck. The only difference was the lightness in his step, the peace in his eyes. Vivian herself had learned a powerful lesson. After the closing, she'd sent Nathan a heartfelt apology letter acknowledging her prejudice. To her surprise, he'd replied with an invitation to visit once the foundation was established. When she arrived, expecting coldness, she found forgiveness instead. "We all make mistakes," Nathan told her as they watched children playing on the lawn. "What matters is what we learn from them." Vivian became one of the foundation's most dedicated volunteers, using her real estate connections to help families maintain their homes during financial strains of childhood cancer treatments. On the 5th anniversary of the foundation's opening, as families gathered on the lawn for a celebration, Emily found her father standing alone on the terrace, watching the sunset. "Penny for your thoughts," she said, leaning against his arm. Nathan smiled, wrapping an arm around his daughter's shoulders. "I was just thinking about that day we first saw this place. How that agent thought we didn't belong here." Emily laughed. "And now look at us, we turned this huge, empty mansion into exactly where we belong." Nathan looked over the grounds, at the families laughing together, at the children who were fighting brutal battles but still found reasons to smile. He thought about how a house valued at $8 million had become something truly priceless, a home filled with hope. "You know what, Emmy Bear? I think you're right. As the golden light of sunset bathed the property, casting long shadows across manicured lawns where children played, Nathan reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From the darkest moment of his daughter's diagnosis to this day of celebration, he had learned that true wealth had nothing to do with bank accounts or grand houses. It lay in the community they'd built, the lives they'd touched, and the love that filled every corner of what had once been an empty mansion. Sometimes, Nathan thought, the most powerful thing money could buy wasn't things, it was the opportunity to create change. And that was a lesson worth sharing. If this story touched your heart, please consider subscribing to our channel for more inspiring stories of ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances. Your support helps us continue sharing these messages of hope, courage, and the incredible difference one person can make when they refuse to be defined by others' perceptions. Remember, never judge someone's capacity to dream, or their ability to make those dreams reality, by the shoes they wear or the car they drive. The most powerful force in this world isn't money, it's love, determination, and the refusal to give up on what matters most.